6. All right, if you look at this equation, y equals sine of x minus pi over 2. Did anything change the amplitude? No, it's still just 1. What about the period? Is there anything changing the period? No, no coefficient on x, right? Okay, so the period is still 2 pi. The little PS there stands for phase shift. Phase shift means the left or the right. Where is this one going? Yep, to the right pi over 2. So guys, just draw a little arrow to the right, pi over 2. Don't tell me positive or negative because that's sort of weird with the shifting, because a plus in the equation means left, all of that. Just draw an arrow. If you really want to, write out the word left or right, but give me the direction we're shifting. Okay, the period is 2 pi, so the labels are just like they were in the parent graph. Pi over 2, pi, 3 pi over 2 and 2 pi. Label the left side. And make sure you label your y-axis too. You only need to go 1 and -1. Okay, before we shift anything, what I'm going to do is, in one color, I'm going to put just the dots of the parent graph. Okay, it's signed, so I know that's the one that starts at 0, up to 1, back to 0, down to -1 and 0, left side. Okay, I'm not going to connect them. I'm just making those dots. Then I'm going to switch colors to actually do the shift. Okay, we said to the right by pi over 2. How far is pi over 2? Like, how many tick marks is it? Just 1 tick mark? Do you guys see it? Because the first tick mark after 0 is pi over 2, so we're just shifting 1 to the right. So then going to the right, I'm going to start over here on the left. So this dot, I'm going to move 1 tick mark over, okay, and put a new dot. Then I move to the next blue one, and I move it 1 tick mark over. And just keep doing that all the way across my graph. And then when you get to that last dot, does it really have anywhere to go? No, you're just kind of shifting it off into the oblivion there. So we don't have to move the last one. And then on the left end here, we need to figure out what dot is going to go there. So do you guys see the pattern happening? Where do you think it's going to go after this? Yeah, down, right? Okay, and this dot will always match. The end and the beginning should always be the same. So I'll put that guy there. And then I'll draw them. Okay. If you do it all in pencil, you kind of have just a lot of dots happening at the end, and it gets kind of confusing. So different colors are definitely helpful. Yeah.
It's like pi and
yes. And guys, that's why it's important that we label before we do our shifting, because if the period changes and we're shifting by pi over 2, it might not be 1 tick mark. Okay. Any questions on that one? Okay. Let's look at number 7. And guys, I changed 7 to just x plus pi. It will make it easier than what was there, I promise. All right, guys, is there an amplitude change? No, so that's just 1. Is there a period change? Nope, so that's still 2 pi. All right, phase shift. Where am I going this time? Left pi, good. And then VS is for vertical shift. Down 1, okay. We all right with all of that? Okay, so labels on my x-axis, what are they going to be? Yep, regular ones, yeah. Okay. Once you have it labeled, let's do the dots for the parent graph, and then we'll pause and make sure everybody's caught up at that point, okay? So in blue, I am just doing parent graph of cosine dots. Are we ready for shifting? Okay. If you want to do it in 2 steps, you can. You'll have a lot of dots on your graph at that point. I'm going to do it in just 1 step. So we're going to do both shifts. So I'm going left by pi. How far is that? 2 tick marks this time. Okay, so like this dot on the end, I'm going to come over 2, and then where is it going to go? Down 1. So my first dot's going to be right there. Then you have to go back to this blue dot. Over 2, down 1, put a dot. Okay? Over 2, down. Left 2, down 1. So this one, over 2, down. It's weird when you're going by 2 because you kind of have to go back to a dot to start, move over and down, back to a dot, over and down. So let me get all of these guys. When you get all the dots, just look at the pattern. Make sure it's following that low, middle, high, middle, low, middle, high, like that you're not jumping around anything weird. Do you guys see I'm kind of missing stuff over here? Could we figure out what it's going to be? Okay, so we're up here, then we'll go middle, low, yeah. Okay. Sounded very dramatic. All right, so that's your graph.
-1 is basically like your midline.
-1 is your midline. Good observation. So guys, what you pointed out there, the midline, maybe you can write, is now at -1, right? Do you guys see it in there? Do you notice how that's what the vertical shift was? The vertical shift will always match your midline. Okay. What'd you say, sorry? So it was the x-axis. It's like all of those middle dots of your graph. Do you see now in the one we just did, in the green one, how those middle dots are all at -1? That's your midline. Okay. When we get to writing the equations of graphs, recognizing that midline really helps with the vertical shift. So. Yeah, so like low,
I thought you meant like
middle.
the 0.
Yeah, so on these, it's been the zeros the whole time, but now that we shifted down, it changes. Yep. Okay, we all right with 7? All right, 8 and 9, we're going to now put everything together, okay? So for number 8, first thing we're going to do is rewrite this. And guys, the 3/2 is kind of annoying for plotting points. Let's just make it a 2. You have a 2? Oh, yay, okay. Well,
For both of them.
for both of them,
For
good.
both.
Okay. Was anything else changed or was that all? That's it? Okay, good. It's much better that way. Okay, what we need to do is write this in factored form. So I'm going to have y equals 2 sine. What do you think I want to factor out of that parenthesis? Not 2. 1/2. What is, you look at x, and what is the coefficient on x? Okay. I'll see you tonight. All right, we're going to factor out 1/2. What is that going to leave in the parentheses? X minus pi.
No, it makes sense. Because then that turns into the.
Yes. So guys, and always double check. After you factor, go, okay, if I distribute that back through, would I get what I started with? We would, okay?
Does it matter if you factor? Like, would it change?
Yes, it does. You have to factor so that you have the right shift going on. Otherwise, it messes with your phase shift, okay? All right, we have a lot happening here. We have an amplitude now of 2, right? What about the period? 4 pi, everybody okay with that? Because the b value is 1/2, right? That thing you factored out, that changes the period, yeah? Okay. The phase shift. Where are we going? If by left you made right, yes. We're going to the right by how much? 2. Well, 1 because the period changes. Yeah, so we're going right by pi. Don't tell me how many tick marks, okay? Tell me by pi over 2, something like that first. When you graph, think about the tick mark. And then vertical shift, we're going up 1. Okay, that's a lot of stuff. So let's think about labeling everything. What's my x-axis going to become? Four pi is the period, right? So what are the other tick marks going to be? Always, always, always label before you do anything else. Okay, let's get the dots of our parent graph. Okay, so sine normally starts at 0, 0. I have an amplitude of 2, so what's that going to do? Yeah, so it stretches it by 2. So the next tick mark's up at 2, back to 0, down to -2, 0. Okay, I'm going to stop there and make sure everybody's with me to that point.
Oh, because it's not okay. Yeah.
Because it's some sort of general vertical of 1,
Okay, so our shifting. 2 things to do in our shift, right? Where are we going? Right pi, which pi now is only 1 tick mark, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and then where else?
Up 1.
Up 1. So, do you guys get it? If I'm going to the right, I should start on the left. Does that make sense? Okay, if I'm going to the left, you start on the right. All right. So, try to do your shift. I will do them up here, and then we'll sketch it. So, right pi up 1. Right? Pi up 1. Right? Pi up 1. And then finish out that pattern on the left. Our shift was up 1, so hopefully your midline is now at 1. Everybody see it there? You don't have to draw it in, but just point it out. How do we do on that one?
Are you like up to 3 or 2?
3. Yeah, so guys, the maximum of your graph is now at 3. The minimum is at -1. So the minimum was at -2, right? So it gets shifted up 1. If you guys are thinking about the range, the amplitude of 2 makes it go from -2 to 2. But then shifting up 1, you're adding 1 to both of those. So that's why it ends up -1 to 3. Are we okay? All right. Are we ready for number 9? Yes. Okay, I'm going to help you with the factoring, and then I want you to try the whole thing. So we're going to rewrite it. Y equals 2 sine. What are we factoring out? 2. What is in parentheses? Not pi over 2. We have to do something to it, not just pi. Guys, if it was just pi, think about if I distribute 2 times pi, does that get me pi over 2? No, so it's not just pi. Pi over 4. Okay, pi over 2, that's like a half, right? Think if you're baking and you had half a cup and now you need half of that. Quarter cup, right? Yeah? Okay, yes, that's what you're doing. All right. So I will give you time to try this. Do it just like we've been doing. Label everything. Parent dots, shift. What's up?
It's a normal period, right?
No, because there's a b value of 2.
So is it gonna be?
Never mind. Wait, it says
So just to make sure we're okay, your amplitude's 2. What's the period, guys? Pi. Okay. So yeah, start with that. Yep. So go ahead and label it. Now let's look. Not plot the dots yet, but actually label the x-axis first.
Because this is our flavor. Oh, so like this one already is your part of the flavor. So once you do that over, I try to get it through. Oh, I just will work it through what is going to put it. So it's very high.
So what's the period? Okay, so this is up.
Yeah, I was like,
So what would the other divided by 2 to get that? We get Naomi's question. That's why we have to label first. Because if you're like the original factor, you'd be like, yeah. So now, if you can just shift, like I know you're going to put the parent dots, but if you shift like pi over 4, do you see now how it makes sense? It's just everyone. I was looking at everybody's notes.
Like on the left.
He's forgotten the stretch. So otherwise, you guys say
I don't know why it goes down to the one. Like I know it's just like the amount of like in between them, but like it's only. But like, because I know it can't go down to because that's not how straight the shift is.
Right.
So.
you have to think, so the stretch makes it go from positive 2 to negative 2, right?
Yeah.
Okay. But then when we shift up 1, you know, we don't shift like this. This whole thing just goes up 1.
Okay.
So the thing that was at negative 2 is now at negative 1. But I know it looks awkward because this line is not the exact same anymore. So that's
I mean, she is so silly.
okay. Moving on already.
Everyone's 100% in his like, it's all we have.
Exactly like.
Like, it's
All right, guys, let's go through it. How many of you got a graph that looks shape-wise exactly like number 8? Yay, good, you did it right then. The labels are completely different though, right? So they are very different graphs. That's why the labeling is so important. So your x-axis was pi over 4, pi over 2, 3 pi over 4, and 5. Oh no, troubles? Oh, okay. Well, let me get up here and then I'll come look at it, okay? You're okay with the blue dots, right? Okay, then we're just going right by one tick mark and up one. So right one, up one, right one. We go all the way up to 3.
Would it be confusing if, like, you started where the shift was? Like, if I put a point at pi over 4, I started from there.
If you can do it all in one, that's fine. Just don't get lost in what you did. You know what I mean?
So for the shift, you're just going up one.
Yep.
Oh my god.
All right, guys, did we do okay? Yeah.
Yeah.
And you just forgot.
Okay, guys. You have class work 4-1 day 2 in your packet. Let's do that next. Okay. More graphing. Just graphing and graphing and graphing and graphing. But you'll get really good at it.